Hi there, I'm Mike, and what I have for you today is Star Wars The Black Series Han Solo Mimban. Go ahead and take a look at this picture of him while I read the bio on the back of the box. After getting kicked out of the Imperial Academy, Han Solo found himself dumped on Mimban as a Mudtrooper. While there, Han met an Imperial prisoner named Chewbacca and an encounter that would change his life. Here he is out of the package, all dolled up in his Mudtrooper outfit, and boy does this look good. This is from the Solo movie, Solo, a Star Wars story, if you weren't aware, because like nobody saw it. Han Solo here is portrayed by Alden Ehrenreich. This figure is from his short stint in the beginning-ish of the movie when he was on Mimban, as stated in his bio. So, as with every review of mine, we're going to start off with lightness. Does it look like it should? This figure is sort of a twofold figure. On one hand, it's a Mudtrooper. On the other hand, it's a Han Solo action figure. So I'm going to kind of look at it in both ways. As a Mudtrooper, does it look like it should? The answer is yes. He's got his goggles, he's got his face mask, he's got a cape, he's got his gun, he's got his armor. I mean, troopers are great because they don't really have to really look like anybody. They just have to look like a trooper. To my eyes, he looks just fine. I really like the way he looks. This was a great trooper design from the movie. Underneath this mask, we see a likeness to Alden Ehrenreich. Does it look like that? And the answer is double yes. I've been touting praises for Hasbro's face printing technology since it debuted in 2018. I feel like with each consecutive figure, it's gotten a little better. This is no exception. And I know I've gotten crap for this in the past, but I think this exceeds SH Figuarts quality. More so than that, I honestly think this tips towards the Hot Toys realm of likeness. Bravo, Hasbro. Bravo. So because of that, I'm gonna give it a 1 for likeness. Moving on to his accessories, what does he come with? And is there anything he doesn't come with that I feel like he should? Well, let's take a look at his list of accessories. He comes with goggles, helmet, face mask, cape, and gun. That's 5 things that he comes with that can come off of him. Let's go ahead and take a look at each one of those. First of all, with the goggles. The goggles slip over the helmet. I feel like it really works here. It looks pretty good. The goggles are molded in a soft rubber and then painted silver around the eyes. That does fit snugly over the helmet, where you could put it on top of the helmet or down over the eyes. The helmet itself is molded to fit Han's head, which is, good. It does have some molded details into the plastic. It also has a nice light paint wash and dry brush to give it sort of a worn look. It's also nice to point out that it's not too hard to get it on or off. I don't feel like it's really ever going to break, and it's not a pain, so that's good too. Moving on to the face mask, it's mostly plastic, connected to the backpack via rubber hose, which is removable. So if you want to take it off, it's not a problem. What's nice about that is the rubber hose, while flexible, also doesn't feel fragile. And it also doesn't come off very easily. The face mask itself has painted details on the nozzles and I guess straps to hook it into the helmet. My only downside to this one is sometimes it is a little hard to get it fitting properly on his face. I feel like I have to fiddle with it more than I should. And unfortunately, because it is a light plastic, it doesn't have the right amount of weight to it. So if you don't want to put it on his face, if you want it kind of hanging down so you can see his face, there's no weight there keeping it down. So it just sort of hovers in front of his face like this. And that kind of breaks the illusion. It makes it hard to pull off some specific looks you might be going for, but that's really more of a nitpick than anything. Moving on to the cape. This is where there might be some differences of opinion. This is a molded plastic cape. It's got a lot of sculpted detail. It's a very thick rubber material, so it's pliable. It also has a lot of dry brushing over there to give it a very worn look, as well as some holes kind of molded into it. Now, a lot of people are die-hard soft goods, especially in the 6-inch scale, and I understand that. And I know they did that with the Mimban Stormtrooper, and I feel like it worked there. However, I don't know if it would have worked here. I feel like this matches what was on screen more than soft goods would have. The other problem with soft goods is you can't get this level of detail in there, and it doesn't really hang right. It's not weighty enough to hang down properly like this would. However, when this is on him, first of all, with the hoses, it doesn't really stay on that well. It doesn't really hook on with the little nubbins on his shoulder properly because the hoses tend to get in the way. It also does limit his posing and articulation a bit. So there are some trade-offs either way. Nothing's perfect, especially at a 6-inch scale, but I feel like this did the job that they were going for. Finally, we have his blaster. This is an E22 blaster, I believe. I looked it up, I did a little research. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments down below. The gun itself is molded in a dark gray plastic and has a silver dry brush over the top of it, giving it a nice metallic finish. It fits well in his hand as well as in his other hand. It has 2 grips and you can hold it in both hands or one hand or whatever you want to do. It doesn't clip on anywhere. There's a holster for it because he's a trooper and that's his rifle, but he wouldn't be complete without it. What kind of trooper doesn't have a blaster? So that's what he comes with. What should he have come with? The only thing I could think is when you look up promotional images of Mudtroopers, they have sort of like pouches that can go over the chest, like command pouches. It would have been cool had they offered that here. However, Han Solo didn't wear those, so this is accurate to the character. I just think it would have been cool for the people that army build to be able to put those on to differentiate some. That's really more of a nitpick and sort of wishful thinking, not necessarily something I think they really should have come with. So because of everything it comes with, I'm gonna give it the full points for that because that's, I mean, this is more than I really could have asked for, honestly. They did a really good job with this. Next, let's move on to articulation. How does he move? Let's find out. Han's head moves side to side. It moves forward this much and back, not at all. His head has a little waggle. His shoulders move out this far. They move all the way around. He has a slightly greater than 90-degree bend at the elbow, as well as an elbow swivel. He has a wrist swivel and a hinge. This wrist hinges this way. He has a torso joint, as well as a swivel. His leg moves forward this much, back, a little bit. He has an upper thigh swivel, double jointed knee, ankle hinge, and a rocker. With this being Han's widest stance with both his feet flat on the ground. So as I alluded to earlier, with all of his armor on, his articulation isn't the best. His head is more hindered than normal because of it, and his arms and legs are somewhat hindered by his cape. However, if you remove all that, because you know, why wouldn't you? Han Solo has a decent amount of articulation. Most of it's pretty standard though. His head is still hindered by the sculpt of his hair and the sculpt of the collar. His arms and elbows are all pretty standard. He has a slightly greater than 90-degree bend at his elbows, which is nice. And his legs move forward and backwards enough. Like nothing there is really, really bad. The only thing I really wish they had done that they didn't do is add on a butterfly joint on his shoulders like they've been doing recently. I feel like if they could have had that, this easily also could have had that. So because of the slightly encumbered articulation, especially with all the armor on, and because of what I really feel like they should have had that butterfly joint on, I'm going to dock it just a little bit. I'm going to give it 0.75 in terms of articulation. Next, let's look at paint and sculpt. What kind of work went into this to give it this look? And the answer is a lot. I've already gone over the accessories. There's a lot of painting and sculpting and molding on the helmet and the cloak. But what about the body armor? The body armor has standard kind of Imperial armor, what we've seen a couple of times. It's got a lot of details molded directly into the plastic, but it also has a nice paint job to give it that worn look. Han Solo has clearly been stationed on Mimban for more than a day, and he's got the dirt on his armor to prove it. The closer you look at it, the armor, the folds and wrinkles and the clothes under the armor, the belt, the pants, the leg armor. There's just so much detail that the more you look at it, the more it kind of pops out. It's just one of those things that it looks so good that it kind of blends in and it's really hard to notice unless you take special detail to really look at what it's got. But the little details like that really bring out a lot of personality in this figure. And lastly, let's look at want/availability. Did I want this figure? The answer is absolutely. Before I even saw the movie, they released promotional images of a Mudtrooper. I think it was Topps trading cards that I saw the picture of, but I remember looking at that and thinking, I want that. I want that as a toy and I want it on my shelf. I didn't care who was under the figure. I didn't necessarily want a Han Solo version of it, but I don't care that that's what I have because I have a Mudtrooper in my hand right now. And that is really all I could ask for. But what about availability? He's number 78 in the line, so he's part of the standard wave that just came out. It's hitting stores right now. You can buy a whole case or you can just try to luck out in stores. And when I say luck out, I mean that. I got lucky and I found them at Target. Initially I had them on pre-order from Dorkside Toys, but I found the whole wave sitting at Target a couple weeks ago and I snatched them right up and canceled that pre-order. In that wave there are 6 new figures, but 8 figures in the case, which means that 2 of the figures are double packed. Those 2 figures are the Battle Droid, which makes sense, and I'll get into that when I get into the review, and Padme for some reason. This should have been the other double pack because people are going to buy these to troop build. They're going to army build these Mudtroopers. I mean, I want to, and I don't really even army build. I'm going to give them a 0.75 in terms of want/availability, mostly because I think it should have been double packed in the case, which gives us a final score of 4.5 out of 5. The only thing really keeping him from being a 5 is speculation and some slight nitpicks in the articulation. Other than that, I really think this is a fantastic figure. Whether or not you love Solo and want another Alden Ehrenreich Han Solo and one that looks phenomenal, or you just want a troop build for more troopers for your Imperial forces. Either way, I think you should pick this guy up. I genuinely believe that he is a fantastic figure and a must-have in any collection, unless you don't collect good figures, in which case I guess he doesn't belong in your collection. The only real downside to this is now I want the rest of the Solo crew in their Mimban outfits. So that's it for my Han Solo Mimban review. What did you think? Did you get it? Do you want it? Did my review sway your opinion on it? Let me know in the comments down below. I love to read and respond to all of those. There's also a couple different ways down in the downstairs area where you can support my channel if you want to. Like, share, subscribe, you know, the normal YouTube stuff that everyone says at the end of every YouTube video ever. And that's it. Thank you so much for getting this far, and I'll see you later. Bye.